I have here one of them that is at 100 milliseconds and one of them that is at 5,000 milliseconds, 5 seconds. Google's done a lot of testing, and I certainly didn't come up with this code all by myself. And the Gmail team has basically realized that you can have essentially one timer on your page that goes very, very quickly. 100 milliseconds is pretty fast for a timer. But the JavaScript engines really don't have any trouble keeping up with it, so long as you only have that one. You can have 200 timers that are over 250 to 500 milliseconds, and 5,000 is no problem at all. But for polling, for things that the browser needs to check from now on very, very quickly, exactly one timer seems to not bog them down. I don't need to check how many hobos there are every 100 milliseconds. So that one I've got on a separate slower timer. Or just skip past hobos. The navigation manager, however, when somebody clicks a link and that changes the hash, we want the page to update the content right away. So 100 milliseconds it is for the navigation manager. So, and then I may not have, these two things here are what initialize those timers. Or what, yeah. The high frequency timer calls this global timer callback function call, that calls this, and then same thing for the hobo timer callback, it calls this. So every 5,000 seconds, the system will check to see how many hobos there are, and then run some stuff. And every 100 milliseconds, not 5,000, every 5 seconds, it does that. And then every 100 milliseconds, the system checks to see if it was asleep, and if not, wakes it up, and then does navigation stuff. Now, in your systems, you can use essentially this exact code. Probably won't need to be checking hobos, but a lot of this code you can drop right in and start to use polling in a way that's been tested and robust and is proven to be robust. So, navigation manager check hash and primary content load is what it's doing. So let's go find primary content load. Okay, here we are. Primary content load. Has some checks, does some stuff. We will notice when in JavaScript, these are the params that we are passing. This is this function, primary content load, some parentheses, and then a comma delimited list of param names. We will have this toLoad available down in here, and we will have this toActivate available down in here. And we are telling it here to load this address path. That will end up being toLoad over here. I've got a S4 and a GUID builder. When we send our AJAX request, we're going to send along to the system a unique ID. And the system then on the request handling side, you will use this UID will be available. You could pass it back, and therefore, what you can do using something like this is if you do not perhaps get the same request UID back that you passed in the first place, you can probably be reasonably sure that the request you have back now is unassociated with the link you sent in the first place. It's going to be really helpful if you're sending many requests in all different directions and are updating content in different places on your page asynchronously, if that makes sense. We can, using a request ID system, associate the responses we get back with which link was clicked, and then we know what to do with it on the JavaScript routing side. Does that make sense?
It has the additional benefit of preventing cross-site requests for you.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, exactly. We can, through a little more convoluted system, prepare the system for an incoming thing. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of hashing things we can do so that the system can be I have two systems I keep referring to. So that the core, the server side, can be reasonably sure that the request coming in is a valid one from something it's supposed to respond to, and then the other way around. So we've sent primary content load, which content to load. We've generated our little GUID, and now we run this wonderful jQuery method called .ajax. I'm going to get a drink of water. Ajax has many, many options. I have some of them set explicitly here. The defaults are fairly good. I myself have basically standardized on always throwing JSON data back and forth. JSON object is, hey, I'll show you one. I'm logging to the console these things, some of these things, and the WebKit web inspector also has lots of I can't think. It has lots of logging options going on down here, so it's logging all of these XHR requests, and it looks like a ton of them, but again, the browsers handle it very well, and because when you navigate away, they go to sleep. It's not really a big deal. So this is a response that we might get. Let's call up this other one. Okay. When we load, I'm going to clean all of XHR content loads. When we load up this page, the system is sending back a JSON object as response. I've got content data. You can think of it a lot like a map. Content primary, which is what I throw. Hello. Oh, that's the problem. In here, I'm loading this area here with what came from content primary.